Hi friends, in today's lecture we are going to see a very interesting project in Power BI, and this is relating to a pizza company called as the Maven's Pizza. So I'll be sharing with you around 4 tables or 4 files from which is containing the data from Maven's Pizza. We'll be studying in today's project how to establish a relationship between these 4 files and get some interesting analytical data from that. Example, we would like to know for the entire year what is the revenue generated by Maven's Pizza. We would also be interested in knowing what are the total number of orders which have been placed in the entire annual year. We would also be interested in knowing what are the total number of pizzas made in the entire year. We would also be interested in knowing which size pizza is maximum selling. We would also be interested in knowing which is the best time when the highest number of pizzas are sold and which is the worst time when the least number of pizzas are sold. We want to see some of the data in numerical format with figures only, and some of the data we want to see it in a graphical format. We would also be interested in keeping all this analytical data dynamic. So if I want quarter-wise data, I should be able to get quarter-wise. If I want week-wise, week-wise, day-wise, day-wise, month-wise, month-wise. And this can help the pizza company take some valuable decision regarding the sizes of their pizza, regarding the timings when there is maximum sale, and regarding, we'll also make some more reports relating to which categories of pizza are maximum selling so they can focus on that product, and which kind of pizzas are least selling so they can understand that they have to make some changes in this product. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in this project. Let me show you how you can do the same in Power BI. So friends, here I have started the Power BI. So the first thing which we'll do is we'll import the files, the Maven's Pizza files, into Power BI. Now the Mavens have shared with us the file with the extension as .csv. It stands for comma separated values. So let us first study how to import the files. In order to import the files into Power BI, you have to click on Home, and in Home you have Get Data. So in Get Data you have different formats from which you can import the data. So you can see that you also have the comma separated value CSV. So I click on that, and then I navigate to the folder where my files are present. So my first file is orderdetails.csv. I select that file and I select Open. So you will see a message that connecting, and shortly that file will come into Power BI. So it is showing me a small preview of the file. Ensure that you read the proper headings. So headings in our file are order details ID, order ID, pizza ID, and the quantity. Once we are sure that the headings are proper and the data looks good, we can just click on load. So the first table is now imported into Power BI. So you can see that there were around 48,620 rows. So that's why it took a longer time to load the data. And once the data is loaded, you can see the table name over here in the field section. Now we have to import the other three files. So again we click on get data, again text or CSV. We have already imported order details. Now we select orders and we select open. Again see the field names, order ID, date and time. The data looks pretty alright. So let's click on load. So you will see the orders table is also loaded into Power BI. Next we will click on get data again, select text or CSV and select pizza types and select open. So here, as if you watch the data, you will see that the heading pizza type ID name category has been taken as a record, and it has given the headings as column 1, column 2, column 3. So if you want to avoid this and make this first row as the column heading, you have to click on transform data. Here at the bottom you see this transform data. Click on that. So once you have clicked on transform, this is where it will bring you. It's called as the Power Query Editor. So you have to click on this button in the junction of the row and the column over here, and here you have one option that is use first row as headers. So you select that and it will make the first row as headers. After that you can just click on the X to come out of the Power Query Editor. So it will ask you, do you want to apply the changes? We will select yes, and the changes gets applied, and that third table will also come into our Power BI. Now let's take the last table. So we click on get data, text or CSV and select the last table, pizzas, and select open. Observe the headings, pizza ID, pizza type ID, the size of the pizza and the price. Rest everything looks fine. So we just click on load, and the fourth table also comes into our Power BI. So here if you watch in the left side, there are three very important buttons. First is called as the report button. Second is called as the data button. And third is called as the model button. So we were present right now in the report button, and that's where we did get data. Now if we click on this data, this is where you can actually see the contents of your tables. So you can see order details is highlighted. These are the contents of the order details table. If you click on the orders table, these are the contents of the order tables. If you click on pizza types, these are the contents of the pizza type. If you click on pizzas, these are the contents of the pizza. So you have the report button, you have the data button, and the last button is the model button. So I can minimize this by clicking over here and over here. So if you see, Power BI has already set up some relationship between the four tables. So I will just delete these relationships so that I can explain you how to create them from scratch. So I'll just delete. And I would minimize the screen a bit. This is the minus is for minimize and plus is to maximize. You might have guessed it. So I bring the table slightly close by so that you get to see all the 4 tables. And let us see how you are going to set up the relationship. So you can see that there are between all the 4 tables there are some common fields. Example, between the orders table and the order details, the common field is order ID. Between the order details and the pizza table, the common field is pizza ID. And between the pizza table and the pizza type, the common field is pizza type ID. So why do we split the data into 4 tables? The reason is simple, and that is to avoid redundancy or duplicate entry of data. So let us first set the relationship from orders to order details based on the order ID. So you just drag the field and you can see that 1 and a star over here. So 1 too many. So there is a relationship set up between the orders and the order details, between the order and the order details table, which is of the type 1 to many. Means for every single order in the orders table, there would be multiple line items in the order details table. Now we would set up another relationship from order details table to the pizza table based on the pizza ID. So we click on pizza ID and land it over here. So there is another relationship set up between the orders table and the pizza table. And finally, from the pizza table, we set up a relationship with the pizza type based on the pizza type ID. So whenever you bring the mouse on this, you will come to know what is based on which field the relationship is established. So now that the relationship is established between the 4 tables, we can exit the model and come into the report, and this is like our home page where we would be designing everything. So this is our actual design area, and this is where our graphs and analytical reports would come. So let us now begin with designing our dashboard. So now first we will create one stack column chart. So in the visualizations, I select the stack column chart. Now in the stack column chart, on the x-axis I would like the months, and on the y-axis I would like to know the quantity of pizzas sold. So what I'll do is, from the fields, from the orders table, I would select the date and drag it to the x-axis. So the date field, I drag it to the x-axis, and from the order details table, the quantity field is there, I drag it to the y-axis. Now if I click over here, which is the focus mode, you'll see that you have a very huge graph. Since the graph is showing us year-wise data, day-wise data, quarter-wise data. So what I'll do, I'll remove the year part, and still the data is very huge, so I'll also remove the month part. Well, now the graph looks meaningful. You can see you have the 4 quarters and the relevant months and the total quantities of pizzas sold in those months. So this is what I wanted. So I would click on back to report. My first graph is ready. Now I want to find out the total revenue generated by Maven's Pizza. So for that I click on order details. Now if you see in the table, in the data table of order details, you have the order ID, you have order detail ID, you have pizza ID, and you have quantity. But you do not have the price. And the price, you'll find it in the pizzas table. Over here you have the price. So there is a link between the order details table and the pizzas table based on the common field, which is you can see there is a common field between both of them, pizza type ID, or you can say the pizza ID, which is the common field between both of them, pizza ID. So basis this, you can pick up the price from the pizza table and bring it here into the order details table. So what we'll do, we'll create one new column over here in the order details table, and for that new column we'll construct a formula. So we'll give the formula as price equals to, and just like in Excel you have a function called as lookup, in Power BI you have a function called as lookup value. So I use that function called as the lookup value, and then there are three parameters. The first parameter, it asks me which is the result column. So the result column is nothing but the price field from the pizzas table. So this is the result, comma. Now it is asking me the search column. The search column is the pizza ID field from the pizzas table, comma, and the search result value would be from the order details table pizza ID. And then I will close the bracket and I will hit enter. So you will see instantly Power BI will calculate and show me the prices for each of the pizza. If I click on this drop down, you will see I got the prices for all the pizzas which are present in the order details table. Now if I want to calculate the sales, which is nothing but which is the sum of or product of quantity into price, would give me the sales figures. So in that case what we'll have to do is we'll have to create one DAX. So to create a DAX you have an option over here called as the new measure. So, or let's just create a simple column. So we'll create a new column, and the new column will give the name as sales, and we'll give a formula which would be calculate, or we can directly say quantity of order details multiply by price of order details and hit enter. So it will give me the sales by multiplying quantity into price. Now if I go into my report and if I want to find out the total revenue, I'll just click on the card option. I'll click outside and then I'll just click on the card option over here, and in the card option I would drag the sales field. So it will instantly show me the total revenue of Maven's Pizza, which is 817.86k. Now if I want to format this into currency, then I have to click on the sales, and then in this format where you see general, I will just select currency. So it gives me that the total currency is 817.86k dollars. That is the revenue of Maven's Pizza. Now after finding the revenue, I would like to find the total number of orders. So the total number of orders would be basis, if you click on the table and click on the orders table, then the total number of order ID would be the total number of orders. So the total number of orders is, you can see over here, 21,350. So again I click on report, and again I click on card. Okay, remember to click outside and then click on card, and in that card we would select order ID from the orders table. So it tells me that the total number of orders placed is 21.35k. Now if I want to format this, then I would click on the order ID, and then I would select format your visual, and in the callout value, instead of auto, I'll make it to none. So it shows me that the count of orders, or the total number of orders placed, is 21,350. If I click on the data and I click on the order ID column, you can see at the bottom that the total orders placed is 21,350, which is matching with what I have got over here. Now the beauty of this is, if I click on January, I'll come to know total number of orders in January and revenue in January. If I click on any month, I can find the details. So this way you can find the detail for any particular month or the overall revenue. Now what I want to do is, I want to find out the total number of orders. So the total number of orders would be, if I click on the tables over here and I click on the orders table, so here I have found the total number of orders, which is correct. But I want to find out the total number of pizzas sold. So that I can find it out by pulling out the quantity from order details. So what we'll do, we'll make one more card and we'll put quantity. So the total number of quantity of pizza sold is 50k. Now if you want to format this, so you can again click on callout value, and you can, instead of display units to auto, make it to none, and you would get the exact figure over here. So this way you can find out the total number of unique orders. Now the only question over here is, have we found the total revenue? Yes. Have we found the total number of orders? Yes. Have we found the quantity of pizzas sold? Yes. And are we able to find it out for specific months? Yes. Now we want to create a donut graph which should show us category wise sales. So I want to know like various categories like chicken, veggies, supreme. How is the corresponding sales for that? So in order to do that, I first click on the donut chart, and then from the pizza types I select category, and then from order details I select sales. So I get the graph, and if I click on focus mode, you can see that for classic the sale is 26.91%, for supreme it is 25.46%, for chicken it is 23.96%, and for veggie it is 23.68%. so virtually it's the same. So I click on back to report. Then I would click on each of the month to see the corresponding change. If there is no interaction happening, then you have to select the graph like this and then click on this button over here called as the filter button, so that it will show you the change. And same way you can click over here and select the filter button. Now the advantage of this interaction is that if you select any month, you can see the corresponding category wise sales for that particular month. Also you can notice the upper figures are also changing. And from here, suppose I want to see only chicken data, so I click only on chicken. So it will show me only chicken data for the various months and the corresponding sales. Same way I can click on veggie on supreme and get the data only for supreme. Same way I can get on classic. Same way I can get for veggie, and same way I can get for any specific month or for all the months by clicking in this blank area. Next, we want to create a graph which would show us the peak timings. That is, timing we want to find out in which timing there is maximum sale. Now for this we'll create one DAX. So we click on home and we select new measure. Now for the new measure we'll give it the name like number of orders equal to, and then we'll say calculate and in bracket we'll say distinct count, and we'll select the field as order ID, and then we'll close bracket and then we'll hit enter. So when new DAX gets created, you will see over here called as number of orders. Now I'll make a simple stack column chart graph. So I click over here to make a stack column chart graph. So I'll just click outside and then I'll click here stack column chart graph, and in this I would like to have time. So time I'll get from the orders table the time, and I want the number of orders. So if I go in the focus mode, you will see it shows you the time over here and the number of orders on the y-axis. But the graph seems to be a very huge and a vague graph. So I'm not getting a pretty good idea about in which time there is maximum sale and which time there is least sale. So in order to avoid this and make the graph look meaningful, what we'll do, we'll click on the orders table and we'll go in the table mode. Okay, so if you see, this is my orders table, and in the orders table there are three fields: order ID, date and time. Now if you watch the time, it is showing something like 11:21, 11:29, 11:32 and so on. So I would like to round off these timings. In order to round up these timings, what I'll do, I'll click on orders, and from this drop down over here I'll select edit query. So this will instantly take me into the query mode of Power BI. And you can see the three columns: order ID, date and time. So the first thing which we'll do is we'll click on add column and we'll select custom column. For the custom column, we'll give it some name like custom time. You can give any name of your choice. So I give it the name like custom time, and we'll construct the formula over here is equal to, and we'll say number dot from, and we'll open bracket and we'll select time. So what will this do? This formula will construct a new column called as custom time, and it will convert this time column into the number format. So I will select OK, and you will see one new column is created called as custom time, in which the time is converted into the number format. Now let's say I want it in 30 minutes intervals. So what I'll do, I'll click over here and this column is there. I will multiply it by, so there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, multiply by 24 hours in 1 day, divided by I want 30 minutes intervals. So I close this and I click on OK. So fine, now I got it into 30 minutes intervals. Now I would like to round this off. So again I click over here, and right in the beginning I go after the equal to type symbol, and I type number dot round, and I open bracket and I close bracket to round up this, and then I will divide this by the same amount, 60 multiply by 24 divided by 30, and I would click on OK. Once I have got this, I'll convert this. So I'll convert this over here by clicking on this into time. So you can see it's converted into time, but it is converted into 30 minutes interval. If I want that it should convert it into 60 minutes interval, so instead of dividing by 30, I will divide it by 60 over here, and over here also I will divide it by 60. So 60 multiplied by 24 divided by 60, and same divided by 60. Click on OK, and then again convert to time. So now I am getting the date, the time in 1 hour intervals. So you can see 11:38 is converted to 12, 11:57 is 12, 12:12 is 12, 12:16 is 12, and so on. So 13:15 is 13. So once I am happy with what I have done, I'll click on home and I'll select close and apply. So that new column will get created over here called as the custom time. Okay, once I have got this, I'll go back to my report and I'll select my graph, and this graph is there. In the graph, instead of time, I will select custom time. So I select custom time, and now I click on focus mode. So you can see now it looks meaningful, and to make it look further meaningful, I'll add data labels. So I click on format your visual and click on data labels and turn it on. So I can come to know that at 10 a.m. there are the least number of orders, that is only 2. Okay, and somewhere at around 1 o'clock there is maximum number of orders, 2686. Same way at 6 o'clock also there is good number of orders, and then 10 onwards the orders keep on reducing. So you get a good meaningful report using this feature of Power BI. Next, I want to find out on which weekday there is maximum rush. So for this, again what we'll do, we'll click on the orders table and we'll click on edit query. So here you can see there is one field called as date. I'll first right click on this field and I will duplicate the column. I'll just rename this column as name of week. And then I will right click on this column and I would select transform, and I would select day, and I would select name of day. So you can see that Power BI automatically changes it to the name of the day. Then I would close and apply and come back to my report. Now I want to make a graph which would be similar to this graph. So what I'll do, I'll just first make some space. So I'll take this here and I'll duplicate this chart. So I'll copy it and I will paste that visual here. And in this visual, now instead of time, I would select, instead of the custom time over here, I would select name of week. So I'll remove this and I would select name of week. Now if I click on focus mode, you can come to know that there is maximum number of sales of orders on Friday and the least number of orders you get on Sunday. So this is surprising. However, it is true basis the data which you have got, that maximum number of orders you are getting on Friday and the least number of orders you are getting on Sunday. Now we come back over here, and what we'll do now is we'll create a kind of heat map. So again we'll reduce the size so that we make some space for the heat map. So over here we want to make a heat map. So Power BI has a feature called as a matrix. So I click on matrix and in the rows field I want name of week. So I select name of week in the rows field. So you get over here. In the columns field I want custom time. So we have found this custom time that I want in the columns field. And in the values I want orders.order ID. So I want this order ID in the values field. So in the values field I want orders dot order ID. So I remove from here, and in the values field I want orders dot order ID. So when I click on the focus mode, you can come to know that on which date you have maximum number of orders. So if you click over here, you will come to know that fairly you get maximum number of orders on Thursday, and sometimes it is difficult to find that out. So here you can see in values you have this conditional formatting. So I click on conditional formatting, and I select background color, and over here for the light color I select light yellow, and for the highest figure I select something like dark magenta and click on OK. So you can see a heat map, and now it becomes easy for me to find out on which date there is a maximum sale. So you can see the ones which are in dark red, there those are the days in which you have maximum orders, and the ones which are in light yellow, those are the days on which you have the least order. So you come to know that virtually Thursday is your main day on which you get maximum number of orders, and the timing on Thursday is 1 o'clock where you get maximum number of orders. So this is how you can find out the heat map. Then you can just adjust the heat map as per the size or dimension, so that the entire heat map should be visible to you, all time slots. So we have to adjust it this way. So you come to know that maximum sales is occurring on Thursday. So hence we are adjusting the graphs accordingly and keeping this in the center. Now we will focus on formatting the report. So for this we'll add some graphic elements into our slide. I'll just make it slightly small so that we get to see the entire report. And next we want to insert shapes, and in shapes we select a rectangle, and we draw one rectangle over here right on the top. And then we move this rectangle like this. It's just a graphic element, keep in mind. So we'll just stretch it to the side like this. Another rectangle, we'll have it here. One more shape we'll make, and we'll have it here. And one more shape we'll make and have it here. You can use your skills and have it as much thick or thin you prefer. Now we click on the first element, that is the sum of sales, and we'll begin the formatting over here. So instead of sum of sales, I want a heading like revenue. So I double click over here and I type the heading as revenue and hit enter. So you'll see the heading changes over here, and then I click on the format, and in the call out value I can select the display units as none and the decimal places as 0, and then I can adjust the font size, so I can make it small, and same way for the category label. I would like to increase the size of the category label, and I would like to change the background color for this. So I'll just click on general, and in FX, in background I change the color to this, and visual border I turn it on. Okay, and then I want rounded corners for the border, so I can select the rounded corners, and you can have it here this way. And I want the shadow, so I turn the shadow on. Okay, and where you want the shadow, that can also be decided over here. So it gives mainly a kind of a 3D effect to the text. And for the callout value, I would like to change the color to white, and revenue also I want to change the color to white. Now same way I want the count of order ID also. So I'll just duplicate this. So I'll just copy this and paste this and bring it here, and in the visual, instead of order ID, I want count of orders, so I'll select number of orders and I'll bring it here. I don't want the revenue, so I remove the revenue and I bring the number of orders. Okay, and I make it look meaningful by clicking on this number of orders and make it like this, hash of orders, and hit enter. So that's like the number of orders. Now I want the sum of quantity. So whichever I don't want or which I've used it, I'll just cut them. I don't want it. Same way I want the sum of quantity. So again I copy this and paste this and bring this on the side, and I want the quantity, so I remove this orders and bring the quantity field here and change this to hash of quantity and hit enter. So I get revenue, I get total number of orders, I get total number of quantity of pizzas which are sold, total quantities. Then I want the categories. So one more time I'll just copy this and paste it and take it here, and categories I'll get here. So I'll select the category and bring it here, and for category I want a distinct count, so I select a distinct count and I change this to number of categories and hit enter. So I get number of categories also. And finally, what I need is pizza types. Okay, so I need pizza types also. So I select this, copy, and I paste, and I bring this here, and I remove this, and I bring the pizza type ID. And again for the pizza type ID, I want a distinct count, and I change this heading, and I change it to hash number of pizza types, and hit enter. Now I have to adjust everybody, so I will select, keep the shift key press and select all the 4 boxes. Then I would select format, then I would select align, and I would select distribute horizontally. So what I would like to do, I would like to fit them within this framework. So I select this, then shift and shift, format, and then align and distribute horizontally. So now they have come horizontally. So I got the revenue, I got number of orders, I got number of quantity, I got number of categories, I got number of pizza types. Now I would like to have one more value, that is average order value. So to accommodate that, what we'll do, we'll reduce the size of all these. So that we have some space. To accommodate one more. So what we'll do, we'll reduce the size of this revenue. So revenue in the callout value, we reduce the size of the revenue, so that then we can reduce the size of the box. So remember it is 35, so I reduce this. Same way I come here and reduce this size to 35. Same way I come here and reduce this size to 35. And now finally I copy this and I paste it over here, and then we keep shift key press, select all, then we select format, align, distribute horizontally. Okay, we want some space to come in between, so we'll still reduce the size. So again we go in the callout value, instead of 35 we make it to 32. Okay, and then we adjust the size of all of them. And now we press shift and select all of them and format, align and distribute horizontally. Now this last one is there. I want to have over there average order value. Now there's no such field like average order value. So we'll construct a DAX, and the DAX would be revenue divided by number of orders, and that would give us the average order value. So in order to do that, we would click on new measure, and that new measure we'll give it the name as average order value equals to, then we will say divide, and then we'll open bracket and we'll say calculate, and we'll say open bracket and we'll say sum of, and we'll say sales, and we'll close bracket, comma, the denominator would be number of orders. So I select for the denominator I select number of orders, then I give comma, the last parameter is 0, and I close bracket and I hit enter. So a new measure gets created called as average order value, and for this I would click on the format visual, and instead of number of pizza types I select average order value, and I get that average order value also over here. So we got the revenue, we got the number of orders, we got the number of quantity, number of categories, number of pizza types, and we also got the average order value. Then we got a heat map over here through which we come to know which time we are making good business, and this card we don't want, so we delete it. Okay, so number of orders by name of week we don't want because it is still over there visible over here, so I'll delete this. Number of orders by custom time, we'll keep this because it shows us a kind of a pattern, and we'll have this also, sum of sales category. Now we come to the last part of the training. So we'll remove all the unnecessary elements and make our report look meaningful. So we do not want the sum of quantity by quarter. So we click on this graph and just delete it. Number of orders by custom time, it looks good because it shows us a kind of visual representation. Just make it slightly longer. And then sum of sales by category, okay, we need this. Finally, over here, what we'll do, we'll create a matrix. So we click on table, and on this table, what I want is the names of the pizzas. So I click over here in the pizza types, and I select the names of the pizzas. So I get the names of the pizzas here, and I want the corresponding sales figures. So I select the sales figures from here, and the corresponding sales figures are also coming here. Now what I want is from the sales figures I want to remove these decimal points. So I click on the sales and then I click on format. These are my sales figure, and in the sales figure I change the decimal places to 2 and I hit enter. So I get 2 decimal places. And now what I want, instead of seeing all the pizza names, I want to see only the top 5 pizza names. So for this what I do, I click on view, and in view you have filters. So I click on filters over here, and in filters you have this all. So I click on this all over here, and over here you have basic filtering. I'll select top n, and this top n I will select top 5, and based on the sales figure, and then click on apply filter. So I get the names of only the top 5 pizzas. So if I click on focus mode, you can see the top 5 pizza names and their corresponding sales values. Okay, I go back to report, and same way I want the bottom 5 also. So what I'll do, I'll create a copy of this. So I click on home, copy, and then I paste it here, and I move it to the side, whatever is my data. And now over here, instead of top 5, I want to make it to bottom 5. So again I click on filters, and here you have top 5. Instead of top, I make it to bottom 5. Basis sales, click on apply filter, and you get the bottom 5 over here. So you can click on focus mode, and you can see this Brai Carre pizza is the one which is bringing us the least amount of business. So I will just adjust this size, and so that our data looks meaningful. Alright, so we have the top 5, we have the bottom 5, we have the sum of sales by category, we have the number of orders by custom type, we have the timings and the day of week, and we have a heat map, we have the total revenue generated, we know the total number of orders, we know the number of quantities of pizza sold, count of categories, total number of pizza types, average order value. And we can see for a specific time, we can see for a specific month, we can see for everything. So it's virtually a very interactive kind of a dashboard, and I can see for a specific category also how the data is looking like, and then I can click and see for everything. So friends, with this we finish creation of a dashboard. Hope you have learned something new. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We'll see you again in the next lecture. Till that time, goodbye.